Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 10th episode of Live from the Adelphi PAC Livingroom, or as it is known in my head, the 100th episode of Live from the Adelphi PAC Livingroom. I can't believe this is only number 10, but I'm thrilled that you're all with us, and I hope you enjoy the show we have for you tonight. My name is Blyth Daylong. I am the Executive Director of the Adelphi University Performing Arts Center. I am coming to you, as always, from what is now the Adelphi PAC Annex, otherwise known as my apartment in Mineola, where this lovely step and repeat is hiding the disaster of my apartment behind me. So you're welcome. While some things are slowly starting to reopen, many of us continue to live at least some aspects of our lives online, and it will certainly be a while before we are able to be in a theater again together. So we wanted to continue to bring entertainment to our audience and showcase Adelphi's talented students, employees, and alumni. So to that end, we have been doing this show every Monday evening at 7:30 Eastern. We will continue to do that through the summer, probably in some fashion into the fall, and maybe keep this going in some way into the future. Probably not every week, but at least some fashion. So we're looking forward to those changes over the next few months as things start to come back to life and we adjust and go back to school and all those things happen. So now the last several weeks we have devoted the opening of our show to continued discussions about race, racism, and the Black Lives Matter movement. So to continue that dialogue, please welcome back the Associate Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, a longtime faculty member in our Department of Theater, and an Adelphi alum herself, Maggie Lally. Welcome,
Hello
Maggie.
there, Blythe. I feel like I should have a cupcake with a little sparkler in it or something for you today.
I mean, right? 10 episodes feels like a thing.
Listen, it is a thing.
Ugh.
That's a commitment.
I mean, it's something, believe me.
Okay.
Good grief. But anyway, last week you joined us with a recent alum, Isari. I wanted to take a moment and encourage everyone to visit her website. She has the poem she read to close our show last week is there, along with a number of other writings that she has done, some other work she has been a part of and performed in. So I encourage folks to check out her website. We didn't do that last week. So if you watched the show last week, you know how great that was. And if you didn't, go check out Isari and everything that she is up to. There's a great collection of things there on the website. So
absolutely, you will be inspired.
Yeah. Right? It's really wonderful what she's put together. So now tell us again about, Maggie, about this Race to Love video. This was something that the Adelphi did back in 2016. We kind of resurrected this to use it as a springboard for these discussions. So why don't we start with you just kind of giving a little recap and history of that video before we bring on our next guest.
Sure. Every year I'm asked to do to create an original piece with students for the annual Human Rights Conference that Nassau County Human Rights Commission holds at Adelphi University for high school students. So we did that in February. Some faculty members saw it and promoted it, thought it was very timely. It's about 3 years into Black Lives Matter. It's amazing how long that movement really has lasted. It's older than we think. And we then put it on, we got it professionally taped so that it could be presented to all of the freshmen that year at freshman orientation. And then we had small group discussions about their experience watching these young people talk about their experiences with race, either on campus or in the world at large. And so that's the
great
version of it. Yeah.
And so it is a series of monologues from various students, some that they've written, some that they've written for each other, some that were existing pieces. So it also has worked really nicely to pull pieces from that, from this, and then bring back the people that were actually part of the video to talk to them about where things are now. So I'm going to let you introduce our first guest.
Okay.
Our second guest. You're our first guest. So
well, yeah. I'd like to introduce Tasheka Scafe, class of 2017. Tasheka was involved from the inception. So she actually created material for the first performance that we did for high school students. And then she stayed with the piece and actually wrote the second piece we're going to see tonight. She wrote that during our revision process for the video. So, yeah.
Welcome to Tasheka. I'm going to leave you guys to it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you both for being here.
It is so good to see you. I just wanted to say, I know you just finished with school, and I do want to talk about that in a little bit. But first, I wanted to talk to you about your experience being involved in this project from the inception. It changed shape a little bit, right? Yeah. As we moved on and got ready for the video and invited some wonderful alumni to participate in the piece as well. But can you just speak a little bit to had you ever written a monologue before?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So
that was a new experience for me, definitely. But I think it all just came from my frustrations and my personal feelings. Like, I just felt so overwhelmed. I didn't really know how to process everything that was happening. So for me, it was very cathartic to be able to just put it out in some way, shape, or form. And as artists, that is our jobs. It is to express the world's view and our view in art to get conversations going. So it felt really good to actually be able to do.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember at all doing it for the high school students and what it felt like for you or any kind of response from them?
I do remember performing it for the high school students. I remember the setup and us having the practice and the rehearsals, and they seemed very receptive to it. They seemed to feel it from us because it was such a personal piece. It wasn't like we just took something and then recited it. This was coming from our personal lives and our personal struggles or our personal feelings towards what was going on.
Yeah, they really wanted to talk with all of you afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a number of them, these are students who go to this conference because they have an interest in human rights to begin with. But for Long Island high schools, it was a nice, diverse crowd. And I think a lot of these students saw their own selves reflected in you and really felt the need to be able to speak to all of you about that. And I found that tremendously moving. You know, it was almost like a privilege to witness the exchange in that process. So I was just wondering, how it landed on you as a performer.
It definitely felt really good to see and to feel the impact that we had on them. It felt like a nice realization to know how powerful our words are and how powerful our art is.
And how powerful your truth is. Yeah. I'm going to say that as a means of bringing us into your first piece, which I think says so much. Without giving anything away, do you want to just play it, or is there anything you'd like to share about the first piece we're going to see?
Well, this was definitely a personal piece for me. Just from growing up, I am first generation American, so my entire family, my siblings, my parents were all born in Jamaica, and then they came here, and then I was like the surprise baby for them. And then my nieces all were born 2 years after each other, so I had them in my close range. But I went to a school in the city earlier on, and it was definitely a hard adjustment for me to understand because I was surrounded by people that were white or Asian or Hispanic in different cultures, but my nieces were going to school in Brooklyn where they were just surrounded by Black people. So the culture shock that happened to me, and then for them seeing the way I was behaving or the way I may have spoken or carried myself, was definitely not something they were used to. So this piece was, I think it was a long time coming, and this is like the place to let it out.
That sounds like a beautiful intro to me. So we'll take a look at why.
Why am I not Black enough? Why is my skin not lighter? Why don't I have good hair? Why is my hair not curly? Why is my hair not longer? Why does my hair have to be nappy? Why should I wear my natural hair versus relaxed hair? Why don't I have big hips, a big butt, and small waist? All these questions have been asked and more. Why am I questioning myself? Why am I constantly trying to confine myself into that little box that people think I belong in because I'm Black? Why am I considered an Oreo? If I'm around white people, I speak ghetto. If I'm around Black people, I speak white. Why can't I just be an educated young woman? Why should the color of my skin affect the way I speak? Why am I constantly being compared to my brothers and sisters based on the complexion of our skin? Light skin, dark skin, brown skin, caramel. When did that even become the color of someone's skin? And yet when I'm being compared to someone that is white, I'm not even good enough. I should never have to validate myself to anyone but me. I am sick and tired of watching people disrespect myself and others because they think that little racist joke they made isn't that serious. I'm sick and tired of being looked down on because of the color of my skin. I matter. I mean something and I am worth it. I'm tired of keeping quiet to avoid confrontation and arguments. We all deserve a chance to succeed. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, and any other race out there. It's time to stop asking why and own what we've got.
How does it feel seeing that? What do you think?
It's a little weird for me, I guess, because it feels like it was so long ago. But it is so prevalent to how I do still somewhat feel now. Like those feelings haven't fully gone away. I've reconciled in certain cases with some of the things that have happened, but they're not completely gone. Like there is still comparison to me and my brothers and sisters that are darker than me or lighter than me, but they're still Black. If someone's lighter than me, they're gonna get more recognition than I might. If someone's darker than me, they may get ignored compared to me. Like that, those things are still very real today, which honestly kind of breaks my heart.
Yeah, I mean, when I looked back at the video, I mean, it's impossible not to note how much hasn't changed. And that's what made it relevant. And I have tremendous appreciation and respect for Vice President Lamont for wanting to put it on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion webpage as a reinforcement, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You are now teaching. And first, let me say, once an artist, always an artist, Tasheka. So it's just a question of which shape your art is kind of being translated at the moment. But can you just talk about that journey a little bit? What brought you to teaching? I know you've always loved math. So, but can you share a little bit about what brought you there?
Yeah. So we all know that as performers, it can be a little hard to financially support yourself. So I was more so trying to figure out what it is that I was passionate about. I still do dance and I still do perform and I still like take classes, but I wanted something that was a little more stable and I wanted to, I guess, reshape my focus. And I ended up teaching a lot more once I graduated, but I was teaching more dance. So I was teaching 5-year-olds ballet and I was just like, this is not what I wanted to do with my life. I did not want to teach at all. But I was like, okay, well, clearly there's a plan here. So I'm going to trust it and I'm going to go with it. And I actually work at the middle school that two of my nieces went to. So one of them consistently works there for the summer. The other one got hired as well. And so when they were looking for a special education math teacher, my niece sent me the information. And so I I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try it. I'm going to see what happens. And I ended up getting the job. So I just completed my first official year as an 8th grade special education math teacher.
Wow. And you literally just finished last week, right?
Yeah.
Because there were
Yeah.
graduations left. So how does it feel?
It feels good. All of my students are Black or Hispanic. The uncommon schools are very specific, like they're in those neighborhoods. So it feels amazing to give back to kids that look like me or that may have not had the support that I was able to have growing up. And it feels, from the conversations that I've had with these kids, there's so much going on that we don't realize in their brains. So to be able to push them and to show them how important they are and how special they are and how much they have to offer has been probably one of the most rewarding things I could ask for.
That's one of the hidden joys of teaching.
Yeah.
Right? It really is. We don't expect it, but then it happens.
Yeah.
Is there anything from your own experience as a student all these years, with everything you've experienced and taken with you, that you're either kind of moving towards, like this is the kind of teacher I'm moving to being, or this is what I want to make sure of as I'm a teacher? Does that make sense to you at all? I don't know if I'm speaking in tongues.
No,
were a reaction or an action to what has come before.
I've definitely had some very specific teachers that stand out in my brain, both in middle school and high school, that kind of shaped the person that I was. Both of them were Black, but they taught with so much passion and love for the subject that they taught, whether it was dance or it was math. But they were also very honest. Like they never sugarcoated things. They didn't make me feel like they were babying me. They always pushed me to be the best, and they saw it. And when they saw it, they never let up. And so for me, that helped guide me to who I am today. And that helped me understand how important I am and how much I have to offer. Because if they just were like, okay, well, it is what it is, she's not trying, and walked away, I probably would have not made it to where I did. So I want to emulate that in the students that I teach and push them to be the best and to let them know, like, they all know I'm the one honest teacher that they have. So I'm not going to tell you anything and like baby you if I don't like something or if you do something wrong. I'm going to be honest with you, but I'm not going to just say it and leave it at that. I'm going to show you the better way to go about it. I'm going to show you a better way to handle yourself. And then they hopefully are taking that in and moving on from that.
And they're 8th grade, right?
8th grade, yep.
I wonder how they'd respond to seeing.
First of all, half of them are bigger than I am. Pretty much all of my students are taller than me, so they think that they have an upper hand because they're taller than me. But we've developed a relationship, and I know my boss says this a lot, is that I found the balance of having that close relationship where they feel comfortable enough to come to me about anything, whether it's family or friendships, whatever is going on. But they also have enough respect for me to know when we're in school and when we're doing this work, you guys are going to listen and you guys are going to put in the work, because I'm not going to let up on you and I'm not going to let you give up on yourself.
Yeah. That's very powerful. They're very lucky to have you, Tasheka.
Thank you.
I believe that. Let's move into the second piece.
Okay.
Because this was interesting. You wrote it during the rehearsal process.
I did.
And did you read it first to us? And then we got the thought to maybe share it, like hand it to Sharod. I'm not sure how that happened. Or did you write it for Sharod? Tell me.
I'm pretty sure it was like we wrote the piece the first time and I thought I got everything that I needed to say out. And then all the other deaths started happening and it just kept going. And I was even more frustrated. And I wrote it a little less about me and more so from the perspective of just any Black person that's living in this world right now. And after I read it, we kind of all were like, it sounds good coming from me because it came, like I wrote it, but it would be more powerful from him. And when he did it, we all felt it like, okay, yeah, this is it.
Immediately,
this
right?
is it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move into the second piece and see Sharod Daniel perform.
What is it about my skin color that has got you so shook? By me being in your presence, do I radiate a threat? It's funny because people of my color are the ones being murdered in cold blood. The exact same people that made a vow to protect us are killing us off one by one by one. I don't want to be angry, but can you blame me? How would you feel if you left your house today? You didn't know if it would be your last, or your dad's, or uncles, or brothers, or even your sons. You might end up around the wrong people and be gone just like that, all because you were born the wrong skin color. We're deemed as violent, aggressive, mean, abusive, and to be feared. Yet, we live in fear every day. What does that tell you? Cops are out here killing my people. White people are out here killing my people. But all I hear is, not all cops or white people are bad. Where's the logic when it comes to us? Don't get me wrong. I know there are good cops and white people out there, and I don't blame them for the injustice and deaths being inflicted upon us. But when those people remain mute, then they become just as guilty as those murdering us. It's time to stop adding hashtags of names to the list and to start uplifting one another. Open your eyes and your heart. Stand up for what is right. White privilege is a thing. Use that platform to defend those that are being ignored. We are the generation that can build a bridge to eliminate the mindset that one race is superior to another. It's time we realize that and start making a difference.
This could have been written yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really,
Sure.
really, really powerful. Yeah, I'm just still so impressed with your work in this piece and still so moved by it that I just really appreciate you being here. I want to mention one thing because this is part of the conversation, part of the education that I'm involved in. That I mentioned an expression earlier when we were talking that I think was completely inappropriate. So I just want to say that I wasn't thinking. I should have just said I was confused. And here we are in a wonderfully thoughtful conversation, and it's kind of time to own our missteps. I think when we're sharing thoughts and conversation with each other. So I apologize for that. I want to know if there's anything you would like to share with us as a community, that we're looking at ourselves, we are talking, we're talking in large groups, small groups, one-on-one, alumni, students, faculty. I mean, we had a 2.5-hour meeting with students today in the theater department, and there's so much to say, so much to share, so much to really process and do. I really want to give you the time to share what you would like, knowing that we are in this place of transition.
Yeah, I know when we spoke last week, I said that I respect the fact that this is even an option, that we're having these conversations and we're showing this piece. But I do want Adelphi to focus less on the politics of everything and more on human rights. Because the more we focus on the politics, the harder it is to actually be honest, and the harder it is to actually make a difference, because we're so concerned about being politically correct that we're not actually looking out for those that are being misheard or those that are not being heard at all. And I feel like that's the way that I felt when I was in the school. And I spoke to you about, I had an incident with a professor and I felt very uncomfortable, and it happened freshman year, and I didn't speak up until senior year. And it was only because I was going to have to work with this professor again. And I was like, I can't be in this environment with this person. And for me, that is a shame when I look back on it, to know that I waited a span of 4 years to even say something about something that I was that uncomfortable with. And I know Nick was very upset about that, because he wished that I would have spoken to him earlier. But that's the environment that I felt like I was in, that I couldn't really speak up, not necessarily based on a person, but the school as a whole. It didn't feel like we were supported. So if I said something, it would be swept under the rug, which I watched happen to other students and other incidences, and it wouldn't actually be valued because of the politics of the situation, because we don't want certain students to look bad or to have a bad reputation. And by no means do I want anybody to have those things on their record. Like, you know me, Maggie, like, I operate out of love. I'm not going to argue with you. I don't like to fight. You've seen in the first piece, I said, I'm tired of staying quiet because I'd rather just sit back and just let you figure it out. But it's not fair to those that want to have a voice but don't know how to, because they don't want to bring up something, or because they don't want to upstir an uproar from all of the people that are going to the school. So if the school is less focused about the politics and more concerned about actually hearing and implementing things that can change the atmosphere of it, then I feel like it would be so much better. And it would be so much more of a powerful statement, and hopefully other schools will follow suit.
Okay. I really appreciate you sharing that. That's great food for thought for all of us as we're moving forward. Thank you so much for taking the time with me, with all of us. And I know you're going to come back later with the final piece, which you'll set up, which is not yours, but you share another gift of yours in that piece. So I look forward to seeing that later. And I thank you for the many gifts you shared with us tonight and through the years. Thank you, Tasheka.
Thank you for having me, Maggie.
Thank you again as well, Tasheka, for being here. And I just want to, before we let go of you for now, I just want to remind everyone that you can watch the entire Race to Love video that we've been talking about on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion website at Adelphi's, on their website. It is right there on the front page. You can't miss it. And then within that site for that department, there's a lot of other great resources available for all kinds of different things, some reading lists, some film watch lists, some resources, some community resources. So I do encourage everyone to check out the entire video and find out more about the work that Adelphi is attempting to do to help be part of the conversation and to really shift things and really have this be a real change throughout the university. So I also want to mention we're doing this again next week with another guest who's been watching tonight. We are excited to have her here next week and share some more from the video. So thank you, Mirai, for watching. And we look forward to talking with you next week as part of this. And thank you again, Maggie, for helping with this conversation. And Tasheka, as Maggie mentioned, we will see you again at the end of the show. So thank you both for joining us. And as mentioned, we will be back next week with more from this video and Maggie again. Now, I have been digging through our archives at the PAC and trying to find some pieces of performances to remind us of times when we were able to gather together and actually share some space at the Performing Arts Center. So tonight we are going to show an excerpt from Best of Broadway. This was done in the winter of 2017. This was a celebration of Rodgers and Hammerstein. So we're going to be hearing and seeing some songs from both South Pacific and Carousel. So enjoy this flashback to a few years ago, back when in the concert hall for Best of Broadway.
Bloody Mary is a girl I love. Bloody Mary is a girl I love. Bloody Mary is a girl alone, now ain't that too damn bad. Her skin is tender as Tangia's glove. Her skin is tender as Tangia's glove. Her skin is tender as Tangia's glove, now ain't that too damn bad.
Hello, dears! Hey! You want a shrunken head? $4! No? Huh, stingy bastards. Over there. Valley High.
Valley High? What does that mean?
It means I'm your special island. Valley High, they call you any night, any day. Your heart will hear it call you. Come away, come away. Valley High will whisper on the wind of the sea. Here am I, your special island. Come to me, come to me. Your own special hopes, your own special dreams. Bloom on the hillside and shine in the streams. If you try, you'll find me where the sky meets the sea. Here am I, your special island. Come to me, come to me. Valley High, Valley High, Valley High. Someday you'll see me floating in the sunshine, my head sticking out from a low-flying cloud. You'll hear me call you, singing through the sunshine, sweet and clear as can be. Come to me, here am I, come to me. If you try, you'll find me where the sky meets the sea. Here am I, your special island. Come to me, come to me. Valley High, Valley High, Valley High. Hey, Lieutenant, you gonna marry Leon or what?
Mary, I can't.
Why not?
My parents.
I'm parent. Then you go marry the French punter. Say goodbye, Leon. No, goodbye, Lieutenant.
I hear we're going on a mission.
Might as well. There's nothing left for me here. But you're young. Don't you want to stay here with your girl?
She's not the girl I can bring back home, you know?
What do you mean? I do not believe in this. When you meet someone you love, you marry them.
I'm not as good a man as you are, Quebec. Leanne wouldn't fit in back home.
Then you are a fool.
I'm not a fool. I'm a student!
You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made and people whose skin is a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught.
Walk through a storm, keep your chin up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky, and the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
So thank you to all the students that were a part of that production. That was not Esther Chung. That was, in fact, Demi Cecilia. I was given some incorrect information as people got confused about which clips I was showing. So I apologize to Demi for misidentifying her in that video, and we will work to get that fixed. So, but also, so a special thanks to her for her solo, and our guest performer that semester, Kelvin Moon Lowe, who's actually not an Adelphi student, but then was joined us for that particular production. So thank you to both of them. If you are interested in being on a future show and performing, we are always looking for more people to be a part of this. Please shoot us an email and let us know that you are interested and available. If you are an Adelphi student or an alum or an employee at Adelphi, we look forward to showcasing you in the future. We look forward to getting your name correct when you do. And please join us. So next, I'm happy to bring on our next guest, who actually was also a part of that production of Best of Broadway. She is a recent graduate of our Department of Theater. So please welcome Alyssa Peculo.
Hi.
How are you, Alyssa?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. I hate that I got their name wrong, but I can only go with the information I'm given. So, yeah, but it's all right. Life goes on. So congratulations on, you just graduated last month. So a big congratulations to you for that. And now where are you coming to us from this evening?
Levittown, so not too far away from Adelphi.
Oh, great. All right. So yeah, you're nearby in the other direction. That's awesome. Thank you for being here tonight. Now, some of our viewers who come to the PAC a lot might also recognize you as part of our front of house staff. You are one of our house managers. You work hard even when you're not performing. You are there all the time. So thank you for that. I really appreciate the work you've done over the years as part of this. So what are you going to be performing for us tonight?
I'm going to be singing My Grand Plan from The Lightning Thief, the Percy Jackson musical.
Awesome. Excellent. Great choice. So I will hand it over to you. Take it away, Alyssa.
Thank you. I've always been a smart girl, always made the grade, always got the gold star. I've always been a smart girl, but smart girl only gets a girl so far. You win at every single game. You want a quest, they tell you tough. If you don't go, you'll never know if you'll ever be good enough. My grand plan is that I will be remembered. My grand plan, just you wait and see. You better wise up, 'cause I'll rise up. Bring on any challenge, and someday soon someone will notice me. I've always been a tough girl, always been the one not to run from a fight. I've always been a tough girl, 'cause most girls never win if they're polite. So me, I tend to stand my ground. I found I never can give in. It may not be my quest, but maybe it's mine to win. My grand plan is that I will be remembered. My grand plan, just you wait and see. You better wise up, so rise up. Bring on any challenge, and someday soon the world will notice me. And your stepmom treats you like some freak, and your dad won't give you the time of day, and your mom won't trust you with the quest. So the best thing you can do is run away. Run away. But I have a plan, and I will be remembered. I will be great. Just wait and see. You better wise up, 'cause I'll rise up. Bring on any challenge, and someday soon I swear I don't know how or when, but I promise you I'll never be invisible again. Someone will notice me. I've always been a smart girl.
Well done, Alyssa.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I mean, you know, we love it. The more the better. Now, I know you and some of your classmates are doing an online performance on Facebook in early July for your family and friends.
Yeah.
So hopefully we will be able to share some of those performances on here a little bit later in the summer. So I wish you luck with that, and your summer and your future. And I look forward to seeing you back at the Performing Arts Center.
Thank you. I can't wait
when we're able. I know, right? Exactly. So thank you again for doing this tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Take care. So there are a lot of other online events going on from Adelphi all summer long. We've talked about some of them in the past few weeks. A big reminder specifically about our Experience Adelphi series. This is a series of short courses on Thursday afternoons that will be going on all summer long from different experts on different topics all around the university. The full schedule is still coming together, but the next few weeks are available on Adelphi's events website, and you will be able to join in. These are all done on Zoom, so you do have to register in advance to get the actual link, but they are free, and there's a wide range of topics from all around the university. Those are on Thursday afternoons, and then there's other great events that are happening all summer long that have moved online, and we look forward to seeing you as a part of those. And as a reminder, just last week we had one of those events. The Adelphi had their virtual gala, as a fundraiser for their President's Scholarship for Student Success. We here at the Performing Arts Center put together a very special performance of Jonathan Larson's song Seasons of Love, featuring original Rent cast members Adam Pascal and Anthony Rapp, who are joined by a chorus of current and former Adelphi students. It is really fantastic. It turned out really well. I encourage you to visit the Gala website, Adelphi.edu, and to find out more information about the scholarship, as well as to watch this great video that was put together by some very talented alumni and students. You do not want to miss that. So thank you all again for joining us this week. We have another great show next week with more guests, some of which we previewed a little bit earlier in the show. And I look forward to seeing all of you again next week. And now I want to bring back Tasheka. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And thank you again for joining us this week. Now we are going to show one more excerpt from Race to Love. So I'm going to let you kind of set it up and tell us what this is.
Okay, thank you. So this next piece that you guys are about to see is a partial improv to Maya Angelou's Still I Rise. Actually, about 2 years later, after we did this project, I did the same piece with a few more Black dancers to this poem. And honestly, that day felt like one of the biggest struggles I think I've ever had as a performer. It was raining, it was freezing, my feet were going numb. We had to keep running back and forth to my car to like defrost in order to be able to record the video. But we kept pushing and we kept persevering because we felt like this was something that we needed to say. This was a story that we needed to tell. And so despite all the obstacles that it felt like we were facing, we rose above it and we created an amazing and powerful video. In this current time, it's so important that we remember to rise above all the hate, the pain, the frustrations, the tears, the fears, rise above all of it. I wanted to say for our white allies, thank you for speaking up. But the work isn't done. We need you to continue to push for the equal rights that we all deserve. We need you to continue to have conversations and educate not only yourselves, but all of the people around you. That includes your friends, your families, anyone that may not have an understanding of what's going on right now. And for my Black brothers and sisters, similar to my first poem, remember that we're worth it. Remember that we're beautiful, we're phenomenal, we're everything our ancestors prayed for when they thought of their future generations. And no one can take that away from us. So I advise all of you to remember to rise every single day, to continue to fight for what is right in any way that you can. So without further ado, I present to you Still I Rise.
Thank you so much for Tasheka. Thank you again for being here, for everything you've talked about tonight, and for sharing this last piece of work with us. Thank you again.
Thank you guys for having me.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may tread me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise.
Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room.
Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise.
Did you want to see me broken? Bowed heads and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard.
You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes.
You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air,
I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs?
Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise.
Up from a past that's rooted in pain,
I rise.
I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide, leaving behind nights of terror and fear.
I rise.
Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear.
I rise.
Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave.
I rise. I rise.
I rise.